Hello, this is Matthew Robert Payne, and this is Tolu Sarah Johnson. This is the book Living a Life of Eternal Significance. This is chapter 7, Chasing the Wind.
Chasing the wind. Wow, that's profound. Chasing the wind. You know, where did this title come from? Chasing the wind. Few phrases in the scripture captured that line, that statement by King Solomon. It captured the exhaustion of human striving, woman striving more honestly than the words repeated used by King Solomon. What am I saying, Matthew? I'm all over the place today. Chasing the wind. Tolu, come back, come back, come back. Yes, so guys, let me rewind. Let me start again. Few phrases in scriptures capture the exhaustion of human striving more honestly than the words repeatedly used by King Solomon, which is chasing after the wind. It is one of the most haunting descriptions of human ambition ever written because everyone understands the frustration of trying to grasp something that constantly slips through their hand. I've tried to capture. There's a fish in Africa where I've forgotten the name. They call it catfish. When you buy the catfish, it just slips off your hand. So usually you have to use something else to first of all wash that fish, and that slippery nature of the fish even irritates me when I cook it. Sometimes it can make me vomit, so I don't like eating that fish. But it was so frustrating trying to hold the fish, and the fish keeps slipping off. And that is how chasing the wind is. And that is how King Solomon described much of earthly striving. Not because achievement itself was meaningless, but because human beings often spend their lives pursuing destinations they secretly believe will finally resolve the ache within them. We all do it. We all do it. I remember when myself and Ben was cutting. It was in Nigeria. I was in UK. It was so difficult to cut just such a distance. I think for 4 or 5 years. And I used to think, oh yes, when Ben comes here and we're settled, yes, I'll be happy. Then something else will show up. Then you think, oh yes, when we have children, I'll be happy. Then another thing. That is how life is. We're always looking for the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing to make us happy because we are thinking our happiness needs to be linked with all of those things happening in our life. And when we arrive there, then we will have joy. But one thing I've learned in these conversations with God, with heaven, is that Tolu, you need to find happiness now. Because if you are thinking or clinging onto the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing will make you happy, you will never experience joy. And that is how King Solomon described people, how we are. We keep chasing after the wind. It's not because the achievement itself was meaningless, but because human beings often spend their life pursuing destinations they secretly believe will finally resolve the ache within them. And once they arrive, they discover the longing still remains. And this is the illusion of the arrival. You arrive to that next stage and you're still thinking, oh my God, that's it? That's the joy? And the belief that fulfillment permanently exists in the next level, in the next achievement, in the next promotion, in the next relationship, in the next amount, in the next house, in the next milestone, in the next car, in the next version of ourselves. It's never going to happen until you know that the source of your joy is God. And I think that is what is missing. Human beings are trying to find joy in something they were never created to find joy. They are spirit beings. And who you are needs to be connected to the source. And if you are still disconnected with the source, no matter what you achieve in life, you will still be happyless, if there's any language like that. You still be sad, miserable. There's so many wealthy.
Happiness.
Yeah. You like that word, Matthew? The way I just create word on the fly, Matthew. It's used to be miserable. There's no happiness in it. That is happiness. Because we are always striving for happiness. Happiness lingers, but it never lingers for long. But what keeps us is the internal joy which we stand on, which are the promises of God, the relationship we have with God. King Solomon had it all. And he was still able to come back to his saying, chasing the wind. How long have we been chasing the wind? And for some reason, I don't know whether Matthew taught as well. I just assume this book we're writing is still for people on earth. But it could still be applicable to you in heaven as well. If you're always chasing the next thing in heaven, that is apart from God, you're chasing the next reward. I don't know what you guys can chase, but you know what you could be chasing. If that is not you chasing or getting closer with your relationship with God, your joy will always be limited. And you will always look for the next thing, the next thing, the next thing to make you happy. And imagine living throughout eternity like that, restless. I cannot imagine that. And that's why all this relationship that God is begging you guys in heaven, please have a relationship with me, have a relationship. It's for your own sake as well. When you connect back to your source, there's no joy that you could compare with that. I move around within my soul with a big gap, longing for my husband. But at the same time, the relationship I have with God and I have with my husband now is so much, much better than what I had while he was here on earth. And I've come to understand that, yes, Tolu, there might be separation, but there's no separation in the spirit. You could still connect to the people you love. And you could still find joys in those things. I find my joy now in serving God, in connecting to Him, connecting to my husband, my son in heaven, my dad. I find so much joy in that. And that is why it's so difficult for me to find joy in what people find joy here on earth, which is like trying to have fun, trying to go. I know that could bring you momentary happiness, but that happiness disappears before you know it. And this illusion quietly drives enormous portion of our life. People sacrifice their peace, their relationship, their health, their rest, their integrity, their family, their presence, and even their inner life while pursuing an imagined future where satisfaction finally becomes permanent. But King Solomon reached that destination. Most people spend their lives chasing, and he discovers something deeply unsettling. Arrival does not eliminate longing. The longing still continues, even when you arrive. My friend Matthew, I love throwing him under the bus because it's so easy to throw my friend Matthew under the bus. He could throw me under the bus as well. I don't mind. But I would definitely throw Matthew under the bus anytime I feel like. Matthew always tells me, Tolu, if I get one review now, it just makes me happy. But ask Matthew that how long does that happiness linger for? Matthew, how long does happiness linger for when you get a review on your book or your video?
A couple of days.
It goes for a couple of days. It lingers for a couple of days. I
Yeah.
didn't even expect it would be up to date. Then you go back to looking for another one, another review that will take you for the next couple of days.
Yeah, but I don't get many reviews.
Exactly. So, but my friend always want that. It lingers for that. And I always see that it just makes him happy. It lingers to have a friend, long to have a friend that will love him, that will accept him. But even when he gets that friend, my friend is always so excited. You will see it in him. He can't hide it. And then 2 weeks or 3 days after, they are gone. But I always try to tell Matthew that, Matthew, go back to the source. You want encouragement? You want love? Speak to anyone you want to speak to in heaven that can give you that eternal joy quickly. Eternal joy. Why don't you tap into that? Why don't you have your own music box? Like Jesus has his own music box, which is full of Matthew's life. Your whole music box, you could make it for yourself as well. Matthew is so profound, is so well mature spiritually. He can speak to anyone on earth and in heaven. So why is this man still restless? Because he's trying to find joy in the wrong things that would never give him joy. So he arrives there and he's still longing. And I'm always shaking my head. I'm like, oh, I wish this man is just wise, because sometimes he can be really stupid. I want to shake him, but I can, because there's always limitations to what I can do for another person. But that's what I do for myself. I speak to myself. I encourage myself. And then I go to the source. And that was why I was so yearning to be able to hear heaven so clearly, because I wanted that to be the source of my relationship every day, the source of my love, because I know I've tried every other thing. I've tried friends. They will give you just happiness that lingers for some few seconds or few minutes or few days, and then they hurt you. They take advantage of you. I cannot imagine myself going through that process over and over and over again. It is so damaging. And those are the processes that Matthew keeps going through over and over again. It's got that relationship that's well waiting for him in heaven. Everyone wants to be Matthew's friend, but Matthew is searching for friends where there's no friend. So what happens? Disappointment. That's why I like throwing my friend under the bus, because I can use him so well to describe this chapter. So this realization becomes profoundly confronting, because striving often gives people identity. Many ambitious individuals secretly do not know who they are without pursuit. Movement becomes emotional survival. Yesterday, I'm now throwing myself under the bus now. Yesterday, I sat on the bed, like I was so tired. I don't know what was wrong with me. I wasn't feeling so good. And then I'll say I wake up, then I'll doze off, I'll sleep again. Then I'll say I wake up, because I was so conscious that we speak to Papa on Sunday, so I need to wake up and go and do the conversation. But at the same time, I was speaking with him on my bed. Even though I was tired, I was having a good conversation with him. So I was thinking, do I leave this personal conversation I'm having with him, or do I need to go and do the conversation with the whole of heaven? And I decided to be selfish yesterday, and I just stick to speaking with him on the bed. And the fact that I sat on the bed, I barely did anything, made me miserable, because I'm used to movement. Movement is my emotional survivor. And because I wasn't having so many movements yesterday, because I wasn't doing things that occupy my mind, it's easy for me to be emotional. It's easy for me to cry. It's easy for me to miss Ben. It's easy for me to see things clearer. So those movements saves me every day. And I'm thinking, Tolu, you should be able to sit down for a day without having to think you're lost. Well, I spoke to Papa and Ben a lot yesterday, and I enjoyed the conversations. It goes to another level of depth, because the more you speak to God, the more it deepens. But why is it that we don't find that joyful? And this is what the monks do. Like they just sit down in an isolated place, in a solitary place rather, and they're just meditating for days. And they've got this joy that we that are going helter skelter, moving around. We don't have that joy that they possess. So that means there's something wrong. That means there's no joy in all of these things that we want. Our building becomes validation. We want validation from people. Our achievement becomes our what? Like my friend, as I was lying down on the bed yesterday, and I was just thinking, I said, my friend Matthew, like his achievement, his tangible achievement is his books, and he cannot stop telling you the exact number it is. Now I'm author of 208. I'm like, who bloody wants to know the number? Just say I'm an author of multiple books. That's it. But Matthew finds his worth in that numbering of that books. And that's why I want to actually outpace him, because I want to see how he will feel. Because I'm thinking, who wants to know it is 218 or 119? Does it really matter? No, I am an author of several books. That's it. Shikenu. That's another language, Matthew. Enough. And expansion becomes their significance. And eventually, success itself becomes addictive. Not always because people love the outcome, but because striving temporarily distracts them from deeper emptiness. And this is why some people cannot stop. Even after they already have enough, they can't stop. Enough, and this might be relevant to the people of the heart that we're speaking to. Enough money, you still not want to stop. Enough recognition, no, you cannot. Enough success, no. Enough influence, no, because you become addicted to it. And externally, nothing more is truly required from them. Yet internally, the striving continues relentlessly. Because the deeper hunger was never actually material. It was existential. The soul was searching for meaning. The soul was searching for identity. The soul was searching for permanence. The soul was searching for significance. The soul was searching for fulfillment. But achievement can only temporarily silence those questions. It cannot resolve them permanently. And this is why achievement addiction becomes so deceptive. Society rewards it. People applaud relentless ambition. They celebrate overwork. They admire exhaustion. They praise constant expansion. I remember when Papa and my husband and everyone used to tell me, Tolu, just rest, just take a day off. We don't need you to do all of this. We will still love you if you do nothing. I'm like, seriously, you will love me if I do nothing? No, I don't believe that. Please don't tell me you will love me if I do nothing. That means I'm useless. I need to be useful for you, God. How can you tell me you love me doing nothing? That took a long time to get rid of that in my mindset. And yesterday, as I was in bed, Ben was like, oh, I love that you can finally take one day to yourself. He was happy I'm resting. I was miserable resting because my mind was not in the right state. My mind was overworking. What have I supposed to have achieved today that I've not achieved because I was just wasting my time lying down in bed? Matthew is smiling. Yeah. But underneath much striving often exists the fear, the insecurity, the restlessness, the emptiness, the unresolved wound. And I've come to know that even people that are wealthy, they've got everything, they're still restless. Or the inability to feel internally enough without accomplishment. Matthew, do you think you ever feel enough without any accomplishment?
I still need to do something.
Absolutely. But don't be addicted to it. That's why I'm speaking to myself now. And this is why some highly successful people become incapable of stillness. I can't stay still. I'm the same. Stillness forces confrontation. For me, stillness forces me to remember my loss. So I have to occupy my mind every day. so that I'm not thinking about Ben. I'm not thinking like, when am I going to see him again? Like, I just have to keep going. But without movement, what happens? The soul begins asking difficult questions. Like I was asking myself yesterday, why do I need this so badly? Why do I need to get up from bed? Why can't I just stay in bed for one day? Why am I afraid to stop? Who am I without achievement? Why does success lose emotional power so quickly? Why? All of these reviews, why does it lose emotional power so quickly? King Solomon eventually confronted these questions honestly. And unlike many people, he had enough wisdom and self-awareness to admit what he discovered. And that's why I will forever be grateful to King Solomon for him being transparent. His father was transparent and he was transparent as well. Much of human striving is driven by illusion. Not illusion because goals have no value, but illusion because humans continually overestimate what earthly success can emotionally sustain. And this is why every major achievement eventually normalizes. And the promotion excites you temporarily, then they become ordinary. The new possession satisfies you briefly, then familiarity replaces excitement. Your award that you just received now, they satisfy you temporarily, then you are looking for the next award. Recognition feels powerfully, momentarily, then the soul adapts and begins craving the next affirmation. The cycle never fully ends because temporary things cannot permanently satisfy external longing. And perhaps this is why striving becomes endless for many people. But one thing that's really helped me a little bit is the fact that I know that my living is not temporarily just for this earth. I live forever. And because of that, I've learned that you can take things slowly. You've got all eternity. Because there's always something. We always think we need to rush ourselves. But sometimes you could just take time and breathe. Take some time off and just have some time to yourself. I'm speaking to myself here because I find it difficult to rest. I find it difficult to stop what I'm doing. And then you keep expecting more to finally accomplish internally what it never truly can. More success, more influence, more visibility, more wealth, more experiences, more applause. Yet the soul continue whispering, something is still missing. Something is still missing. It keeps whispering to you all day. And this is the tragedy hidden inside achievement addiction. The person often believes they are chasing success, but deeper down, they are often chasing relief. Relief from insignificance, relief from insecurity, relief from emptiness, relief from uncertainty, relief from feeling unseen or unworthy. I've watched so many people that downsize, go and live inside a remote place, live with a small possession, and they always tell you that they are happy for the first time, that they've lived that world of everyone chasing the wind. Now they can actually see life the way it is. If you ask me that, what was my best life that I really, really enjoyed? It was growing up when I go to my grandparents. My grandparents lived in a little town. And when I go to them, it's just like there's no worries. It's just everything, everyone living there, they are all remote from technology. Everyone was they're just having fun, enjoying themselves. They're pleased with little things. I really, really enjoy my growing up with my grandparents by that. They gave me such a beautiful memory. And then I could just be a child. I don't need to worry. And because earthly achievement can only temporarily suit these deeper aches, the striving never fully stops. And this is why King Solomon's word feels so emotionally modern despite being ancient. Even though he said it a long time ago, it's still relevant today. Human nature have not changed. It has even worsened because the technology has evolved, the culture has evolved, the economies evolved, but the human soul still searches for permanence in a temporary state, still searching for identity in accomplishment, still searching for what in achievement, still searches for fulfillment in accumulation. And King Solomon eventually realized striving itself can quietly become slavery. Not physical slavery, eternal slavery, where a person becomes emotionally dependent upon constant progress to feel valuable. And this is why many ambitious people secretly fear rest, because rest can feel unproductive. Talk to me. Rest can feel unmeasured, unvalidated. I was so restless yesterday because I did nothing. And I was asking myself, you could have ironed the girl's clothes, you could have done this. And yet, without rest, the soul slowly loses connection to deeper meaning beyond performance. Whereas I was able to speak to God a lot yesterday and my husband, and that was so fulfilling for me. So I just need to change my mindset that sometimes you could just take a day just to fellowship with God at a deeper level, and you will be so filled with joy. And this is where striving becomes spiritually dangerous, not because ambition is wrong, but because ambition detached from external perspective eventually consumes the soul. The problem is not building, the problem is believing. What I build will finally complete me. That's the problem. Believing that what you build will finally complete you. No, it's what God prepares for you that will finally complete you. It's walking in your destiny, walking in your purpose, having a deep relationship, an intimate relationship with God that will fill that vacuum in your life. Nothing earthly can carry that responsibility safely. Nothing. Not success, not influence, not recognition, not wealth. Because the soul was designed for something greater than endless accumulation. And this is why Ecclesiastes feels both painful and liberating simultaneously. Painful because King Solomon exposes illusion many people build their lives around. Liberating because he reveals that human worth was never meant to be sustained by endless performance. And perhaps this is the deeper wisdom hidden inside this phrase: chasing the wind. The wind itself is not evil. It simply cannot be possessed permanently. Neither can applause, your status, your achievement, your beauty, your influence, your worldly success. All of it moves. Beauty moves. Today you're pretty, tomorrow you don't feel pretty. Like some people are so addicted to, what do you call all of these surgeries that they do?
Plastic surgery.
Plastic surgery, to the extent that they're different from who they were God created, and they've changed all their face. Everything is changed. But it still moves. It changes. It fades. It passes through human hand eventually. And the more desperately a person tries to force permanence out of temporary things, the more exhausted his soul becomes. This does not mean ambition must disappear. No, it means ambition must be anchored differently. A person can build greatly, they can create passionately, they can lead powerfully, they can pursue excellence and steward success, because I will still continue to pursue excellence in my life. But without believing, that itself is salvation. That's what I don't believe in. I'm detaching myself on. Detach yourself from your own success. Don't think that is your salvation. Don't think that is what is going to make you happy, because he will not. And this is the balance King Solomon eventually discovered. Enjoy the gift while it lasts. Enjoy the promotion while it lasts. Enjoy basking in your review while it lasts. But do not ask the gift to become God. Build, but do not worship building. Achieve, but do not make achievement your identity. Pursue excellence, but do not lose your soul trying to prove your worth through performance, because more will never fully resolve the longing with human spirit. Only God can carry the weight of eternity inside the soul. And perhaps this is why King Solomon's words still echoes across generation, with such unsettling honesty. Human beings were never created merely to chase the wind. God bless.
Oh, well, that was an interesting monologue by you, Tulu. I'm sometimes you speak, and it makes me very nervous of what I'm going to say next. And perhaps when you read the book of Ecclesiastics, I haven't read it for a while, but having a king who had great possessions, had great wealth, had great leadership skills, great influence on people.
Yeah.
It's really heartwarming to see that he come to a place where it's all striving after the wind.
Absolutely.
That he could say of his life after he's lived his life, while he's living his life in grand fashion, in grand opulence, for
Yeah.
him to be able to make the conclusion that all this is chasing after the wind, all this is striving, vanity of vanities. This is all striving after the wind, and it it's encouraging to most of us that he can reach that conclusion, because that's
Mm.
just true of so many people. My
Yeah.
my sister was out with my mum about 8 years ago, 10 years ago, and she took took my mum out for what do you call brunch in between breakfast and lunch, and they
Yeah.
went out to a cafe, and she asked my mother this question: who out of your children? I've got an older brother, an older sister, and a younger brother, so there's four of us. She said, who out of your children would you consider the most content? And my mother said very quickly, she said, even though Matthew has his struggles and he's mentally ill and he has struggles with life, I'd say Matthew is just really content. He's uh,
Wow.
he's really happy, and I think that was a shock to my sister. I only heard that from my mother's point of view, so I don't know what my sister thought of it. And I it's only have a struggle if I've got nothing to do, and I imagine that's what's going to happen if AI replaces people's jobs. That people are going to have a problem filling their day in, because
Mm.
so many men in particular need something to do to give them meaning in life and give them purpose. But if I looked at my life, Tulu has mentioned I struggle with friends, and I've struggled with this online website with women selling their time to talk to men, and I've struggled with that. But um, uh, whenever I get the chance to do a video or two each day, I fill my time in with YouTube between then and sometimes Netflix. But I'd say I'm content. I
Mm.
would say my life isn't really striving for anything. Of course, for years I had people do spiritual readings, or Christians call them prophecies, that spoke of me traveling the world and being a success and successful Christian preacher and teaching thousands of people. And then about 6 years ago, God told me that they were all false prophecies,
Mm.
and the reason He allowed me to have them was because He wanted to keep me alive. And for
Wow.
many years, I was suicidal, and I would have taken my life if it wasn't for the hope of
Wow.
those prophecies. But now I've settled in, and I'm content, and I'm doing one or two videos a day, and I'm pleased. I have to say to the people listening on Earth and the people listening in heaven that you give me so much joy and you give me so much satisfaction to be speaking to you, and it gives me purpose.
Mm,
It fulfills purpose in my life, and I I um I I feel sorry for people who have a life of endless striving.
mm,
I know what it's like to strive to please God and to make God happy.
mm,
For many years, for 42 years exactly, I had an addiction to pornography and an addiction to prostitutes for 40 years, and I used to strive and do things to please God because I wanted
mm,
to make up the balance sheet. Like I was doing all these bad things with sexually, and I wanted to do enough good things to like even up the balance sheet. And not many people live a life like that. I know certain people like myself have a sex addiction, and it really tears at your soul. So how can a person who struggles that way, how can they
mm,
be deeply loved by God and deeply caressed by God in His comfort? That may be a mystery to you, and but I have realised that many people are living their life in a place of striving to be significant, striving to have people accept them, striving to
mm,
show people that they're successful, and that can even happen for very successful people. They have to keep up appearances. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos about Taylor Swift, and she's always in a different uniform. She's always dressed in a beautiful way, and I consider myself it's a good thing that she's got millions of dollars to be able to afford all these clothes. She's just amazing with all these different outfits she's got, and I often wonder how she dresses outside of the performance on stage. I bet she's got really fashionable clothes, but it can be a problem for you if you don't love yourself, if you don't accept
mm,
yourself. Your life can be centered on doing things to make yourself feel good and make yourself feel accepted and make yourself feel valuable to other people. And it's sad that this world sometimes doesn't have the best feedback for people. Sometimes this world doesn't give you immediate feedback on who you are and what you're doing. The world can be cruel, and sometimes certain people can't do good Instagram photos, for instance, because they've got nothing going on, they've got nothing successful, and they can't fill their Instagram with great photos. And I'm not on Instagram, but I've seen Instagram shots, and women like to express the best side of themselves. But what if you haven't got a best side of yourself? What if you haven't got anything to show? What if you got nothing special? I have pity. I have sorrow for people who are living a life and don't really think their life is too special. They've got nothing to show that's amazing. But there's so many people who are addicted to better achievements, better performance, better success, and it must be so hard. I feel for people who've got a big name and they're successful and they're really achieving and they're on top of the world because Sometimes there's pressure to stay on top of the world. Sometimes there's pressure to make yourself relevant and continue to be relevant as you succeed and become one of the best pop stars in the world. There'll be pressure for you to maintain that position. There'll be pressure on you to release another good album. And if you've released a good album and a second good album and a third one, all the way to 6 or 8 good albums, there's always pressure to release the next good album. And so sometimes you have to live in this position where you find yourself constantly striving to do better and better, and that can be worrisome and can be a burden around your own neck. And we encouraged people in a former chapter to take the book of Ecclesiastics and read it for yourself. That they're wise words of really a wise king, one that succeeded in every way, and even had a queen. The Queen of Sheba came and visited him. I'm not sure where Sheba was, but he had other dignitaries coming to visit him, just like people used to visit the Queen, and the Queen would have an audience with certain people. King Solomon had people visit him and pay him respects, and they came because they respected him, and they came because they admired him. And for him, with all his great success, to be able to write a summary of life in the book of Ecclesiastics and say, everything that people focus on is chasing after the wind, and it's a bold declaration by him, by someone who knows. And if you know a certain thing, you have a good understanding of a certain subject, like I have an understanding of writing, or I have an understanding of doing personal prophecies for people. When you read a book by someone about personal prophecy, if you read a book about prophecy, you can understand at a deeper level when you've got plenty of experience in that subject matter. And Solomon had personal experience in success and maintaining success and leading and ruling. And so it's his book, Proverbs, and his book, Ecclesiastics, would be very helpful for other people who have experience in success, who have experience in leadership. And I recommend all of you people listening, for the second time, I recommend you go and read the book Ecclesiastics. Another focus of Solomon towards the end of the book of Ecclesiastics, he says it's a good thing to know God and to love other people, and to obey the commandments of God. And God didn't make commandments to order our lives and tell us what to do. He just wrote the commandments as a guide, just like and Jesus' 50 commandments in the Gospels, in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You'll find Jesus says 50 things to people what to do. His commandments aren't like rules that you've got to live your life by those rules. They're like a manual for a car. You've got a car, you've got a human body, and you've got a life. And Jesus' 50 commandments are just suggestions that this is the best way to do things in multiple different ways in your life. And he's got 5 commandments about how to treat an enemy. And that's very helpful when you understand what he had to say in that area. So it's sometimes it's really good It's a wise thing to do to follow the advice of someone who's gone before you. I learned a lot as I read 30 or 40 or 50 books on prophecy. I learned to prophesy very well, and you can tell I've got a real gift for bringing a different voice than my own in the 6 chapters that have come before when Solomon spoke. That's the gift of prophecy at work, and I sometimes when Solomon speaks, I'm more comfortable with what he's saying than what I say in this area of the chapter that comes after Toulouse. So it doesn't really, the world doesn't really matter how successful you are. The world can be harsh and judgmental, and sometimes we're tough on ourselves and we judge ourselves too much. And it's a really good position to be, to know God and reach a stage of contentment. And Solomon seems to have concluded his book of Ecclesiastics in a good way, but you can tell even Solomon, with all his riches and all his success, was uncontent in certain times, and the way he wrote what he did in Ecclesiastics. So I'll finish there. So we'll just have listened to what Solomon has to say. So I was very touched to hear that story, Matthew, about your mother and your sister, and for your mother to be able to confirm that you're content. There's not a lot of people in this world that can honestly say they've got contentment in their life. Sadly, the media and the things that you watch are always selling you things and always promoting things. And the foundation of advertising is to convince you that you're not successful, convince you that you're not happy, and you won't be whole, and you won't be happy until you've got their product. And so when you live a life that's faced with advertisements and the media, what they portray, they constantly at you, giving you a message that you haven't performed and you haven't succeeded, and you need this certain product and you need to do these certain things. And another part of the media just tells you that the world is in a bad place and you need to worry. You need to worry about this. You need to worry about that. You need to be worried about this thing. And the media doesn't seem to be content to give good news and uplifting news. And you've even heard, Matthew, that if the media was full of good news, people would feel sad because they need bad news to keep them happy. So I really appreciate being a part of this book. I lived thousands of years ago, and I had a measure of success. I had a good kingdom, and you've said it before, but I'll repeat it again, that Israel has been in many fights. Israel had many skirmishes with other countries and wars with other countries when my father David was king, and it was a real accomplishment by myself to keep Israel out of wars. And the modern Israel, what they consider Israel these days, is in many wars, and it just seems to be something common for Israel to be in wars all the time. But in my rulership, while I reigned for 40 years, there was no wars, and I'm particularly proud of that record. There's many things in my life that I was proud of, but even I, with all my success and all my wealth and all my good decisions and all my wisdom, still was able to understand that having everything and achieving everything isn't
Mm.
particularly something that will still the mind. The mind races, and you heard Tolu had one day off. In many days off, she had one day off where she didn't do anything, but she did the most important thing. She spent the
Mm.
time with God, and she spent the time with her husband, communicating, and even communicating with God and her husband all day. She felt lacking. She felt that she wasn't achieving anything. She felt that she was misplacing her time. And that's just an example of how we can be wired that makes us think, like life makes us think that we need to be busy and we need to
Mm.
be achieving things, and it takes a lot to still the mind and bring the mind to peace, bring the mind to rest, and that's something that I've got great feelings, and I've got a great feeling that Toulouse going to move into that so she can have days off, and she can relax and be at peace. And it may not happen today, it may not happen in 6 months, but it's my prayer
Yeah.
that happens eventually, that she can just, maybe she might need to start a website where she prophesies over people or prays for people, and she can just spend her day encouraging people in prayer and prophecy. But then she'll still be working, but uh, we uh, we hold out hope for her to be able to have rest. So, are you a person who has rest? Are you a person who's busy all the time? You're a person whose mind doesn't stop from operating and running? Can you relax and watch some TV? Can you relax and sit down and watch a TV series on Netflix? Can you bring your mind to rest? Can you have peace? Or is your mind always running? Do you always have to achieve something? And or do you find that all your activity is similar to what I say, chasing after the wind? Is success to you something achieved by you? Have you achieved success in your idea of what success is? Or are you still striving to go better? It's a sad thing to hear that so many people who have a measure of success and have achieved something never stop striving. They never stop running after this success. And if they have success, they want to maintain success. And it's a sad thing sometimes. I hope that hearing Matthew's story, that you can find a place where you've achieved what you want to achieve, and you reach a stage of contentment.
Wow, that was profound, King Solomon.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, that was profound. And thank you for the advice.
Yeah, we love you. Radio.